congratulations to all the nominees for this amazing award. Also to Outlook Responsible Tourism for being so responsible. What I'm going to share with you is, I'm going to take you straight to Gujarat, in Gujarat to Kutch, and in Kutch to a grassland 2,500 square kilometers in an area called Banni. This is an amazing ecology. It's one of Asia's largest tropical grasslands with more than 40 different grasses and sedges in it. It's got a huge diversity of fauna, besides flora, of course. It's got wetlands. Some of them are proposed Ramsar sites, like this Chari Dand. And in that, there's a beautiful culture that it resides. These are pastoral communities who came from Sindh all the way from Afghanistan about 400 to 500 years ago and made this 2,500 square kilometers their home. They have amazing cultures, cultural practices. But I want to start at 2001, when this amazing earthquake took place in Kutch, and the tremors were felt here in Delhi and Chennai as well. While our cities collapsed, all our concrete structures, so to speak, collapsed, these mud structures did not break. And these are called bhungas, which were slowly going out of use because they were considered a poor man's house. And when we spoke to the, because there was a lot of excitement that how did the bhungas not break in such a bad earthquake? So we used to sit with the Meghwal community, who were the builders for these pastoral communities. And the Meghwal community, one of the old men told us that the circular structure came into our housing form in the 1819 earthquake. Till then, everybody built square house structures. But in an earthquake, what happens is that in a square structure, when the land moves, there's a crack that forms at the corner, and when the crack comes down to the bottom, the walls fall, and then the roof falls. So if you actually make a structure that doesn't have a corner, then that should survive the earthquake. And that's how they developed what was called the bhunga. It's a circular form, and therefore the energy of the earthquake rotates into the walls and goes down again. It became, these are the Meghwal women who took the responsibility of actually rebuilding Kutch. After the earthquake, when thousands of people were homeless, lakhs of people were homeless, these women, in a small period of just 9 months, built 2,500 bhungas. And these were the structures that they built all over the Banni, and suddenly the bhungas became fashionable again. This community also has some amazing practices, cultural practices. This is called a system called Abat. Abat is a practice where in the summers, because we are an arid area in Kutch, when the lakes dry up, they form little wells within the lake. And these wells are called virdas. But the practice is that you can't employ labor, pay them money and get your virda done. You have to call an abat. And in an abat, one person from every family will come and help you build your virda. The other important thing in this practice is that if during the year you have had a fight with somebody, you have had a quarrel with somebody, that person won't show up for the abat. And the abat cannot begin until and unless this person shows up. So you will send the eldest from your family that please go and convince this person. He will say, no, you know, your son was very rude to me. It went in front of everybody, he abused me, so I'm not coming. So finally, what you do is you send your little girl from your house, the smallest girl, and they say that when this little girl goes to you, your heart melts and you come for the abbot. So this is a practice that makes sure that quarrels, small and big, don't go beyond that 1 year. So then everybody gets together and starts forming and starts digging the well. They make a filter with grass, and then the first waters are pulled out, poured, and a trough like this, again made in mud, welcomes the buffaloes that are waiting up there. They come and drink their water. Then everybody gets together and cooks together, and the two people who have had a fight have to eat from the same plate. So there are many such beautiful practices in Kutch, in the Banni grasslands. And another beautiful practice is that, you know, I do a training program with a lot of pastoral youth over there. And so if you take 10 youth and you give them 100 acres of land, and you tell them that, why don't you divide this into 10 acres, and you know, you'll have full control over your 10 acres and use it the way you want. They'll say, no, 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 we can't do that. Why? Because wherever you draw a line, there will be a dispute. And when you have to eat from the same plate, you have to be other-centric. Now, this is a mindset which is completely contrary to the way the market economy functions. And therefore, these are values that teach us how to be other-centric and therefore live together. They have also developed an amazing buffalo which grazes in the nights. It's got a drought-proof gene in it. And it's considered, there's a very scientific process of genetically making sure that the drought-proof gene remains in the buffalo. There are about 100 bhagyas who maintain a record of about 7 to 8 generations of all the animals in the area. Droughts ensure that they remove the weaker animals, and droughts also make sure that the carrying capacity of the grasslands is maintained. They also have a very beautiful other custom where if your animal doesn't show up in the morning, because they all go grazing in the nights, and it gets lost, it often happens that the buffalo goes off with some other herd to some other village. And the practice is that whoever has found that animal is only a trustee of that animal till it is found again by the original owner. Sometimes it has taken 6 to 7 years for the animal to be found. In those 6 to 7 years, the animal has also given birth to other younger ones. But when it is found, the owner checks whether this animal is really yours. And normally they check by asking you to call the animal by its name. And if that animal responds to you, that means it is yours. And then the animal is returned. Along with that, the progeny of that animal is also returned to you. But during those 5 to 7 years, if you have earned any money from that animal by selling the milk, that money is kept in the masjid and that money is also returned to you. Now, that is the level of honesty that they practice. There's also a beautiful custom between the Meghwals and the Maldaris, where when your favorite animal dies, the skin is taken off of that animal and converted into shoes and presented to you on your marriage. And so that your animal comes back to you on your feet. There are beautiful sayings, something like, if a roti does not turn, it will burn. Horse tied to a place will lose its pace. A leaf stuck to the soil will rot. Knowledge that does not travel will shrivel. So we stay moving with our herds. These are people who have accepted change as an important part of life. And therefore, accepting change is the only way you can remain happy. There are other sayings that I want to be in the, I was told that I have too many slides, so I should go a little faster. But they also have another beautiful custom where every hamlet has a guest room. And the guest room is available to anybody, whoever wants to come and stay there. And when somebody comes to stay over there, it is considered a privilege that you can now take care of a guest. And you never ask that person when that person is going to leave. You continue to serve him until and unless he or she decides to leave the otak. This guest room is called a gotak. So given the fact that they had so many beautiful customs in the Banni grasslands, we said, why don't you develop a tourism resort and invite people to come and live with you and share these beautiful values that you hold and cultural practices. They said, but we don't need the money. So we said, no, it's not about money. It's because we in the cities have got so used to a particular way of living, and we are so completely enwrapped with the consumer economy that when we are able to experience a very different reality, it'll start giving us ideas of how we can actually conserve the world. So it's a service that you're going to do if you agree to form a resort over here. So they agreed, and they, of course, built their famous bungas, which had not broken. The reason why I'm telling you this is because this Shame Sarad resort was built, the background story was not money. It's a different matter that they made a lot of money, but the money that is earned from the Shame Sarad resort, 1/3 of it goes into the development of the village. And another 1/3 is kept for adding new facilities to the resort. And this whole thing was done by the artisans of that region. I also want to acknowledge Manojji, who is sitting here. He's designed an amazing program in Madhya Pradesh. It's a very ambitious program covering more than 150 villages, more than 800 to 1,000 homestays. It's a privilege to be working with him. We are helping him build some of these tourism sites. It's very sensitively designed. I think it's one of its kind that's going to happen in the country. Where every village is going to have 5 to 7 homestays along with a community center. I wish he had the opportunity to also speak to you about this. Again, this is being done with tribal communities with the idea that we again understand communities that know how to live with their environment and their forests, something that we in the cities have lost how to do. So they are very simple structures, but similarly, in the Spiti Valley, we have amazing homestays built in rammed earth, 2-story structures. In Bhutan also you have rammed earth as an important. Rammed earth is also a technique which is used in the Great Wall of China. A sizable part of the Great Wall of China is actually made in mud. Very few people know that. In the Sundarbans, a friend of mine, he's built some amazing structures in bamboo. All over the Himalayas, especially in Kashmir, you make buildings in wood without using any nails. It's all with beautiful joinery. I just looked at the joinery and I saw little gaps between 2 pieces of wood when they're connected. And I said, but this is badly done. She says, no, this is purposefully done because in an earthquake, you don't want a rigid joint. You want a joint that will vibrate and release the energy. And so these buildings can actually help make sure that the energy is released. You have cob houses or the santhals. These are more than 100-year-old houses. Cob houses are made in clay, and clay is a material which even a bulldozer finds difficult to break. It's stronger than concrete when it comes to its dry strength. Also in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, we have another beautiful technique of using stones and mud. Invariably, our engineers say that you cannot use mud because the building will break. But what they do is, they make these structures. If you can see over here, this red piece of wood, it actually holds the wall together on both sides and is connected between the wall. And so it's called a containment reinforcement, which makes sure that in an earthquake, the wall moves, but it does not fall down. So other than concrete, we have found all across the Himalayas 18 different ways of making sure that the earthquake doesn't break your building. These are buildings which are more than 400 to 500 years old, and they are heritage buildings today because you can't use so much of deodar anymore. But in the whole process, we found so many amazing master artisans who know the science behind building with local materials. Construction contributes to 38% of the greenhouse gases and is one of the major contributors to climate change today. And we thought we know how to build in the cities. We are very lucky that in India, we also have a Bharat that knows how to build sustainably. And it's very important that we bring these ways of building into our cities. So with these master artisans, we have almost about 600 artisans now, master artisans, who are building for the cities using these traditional techniques. So it's very important that in responsible tourism, we don't take concrete to our villages when we are trying to bring mud into our cities. So these are some of these master artisans from all over our country who are making amazing buildings using their techniques, but with a modern idiom that we people are used to. Finally, I want to say that, in the Rathwas of Chota Udaipur, they make these little dolls. Whenever somebody dies suddenly, these dolls are placed in a part of their property so that their spirit is allowed to be released. Unfortunately, the consumers that we have started bringing these dolls and putting them in our drawing rooms. And it's almost like it is to clean our conscience of the spirit of the once vibrant culture of the Rathwas. So let's be more responsible. We as consumers have learned how to consume everything. We are actually, we want to even consume experiences, we want to consume the artifacts without understanding the meaning behind why something is done in a particular way. So thank you so much for listening to me.